The first time the galaxy spoke our name, it was already too late to refuse. Earth received a signal at 3:17 Universal Time, a transmission so massive it bent satellites out of orbit and cracked the ionosphere like glass. Every screen on the planet ignited at once, from hospital monitors to ancient billboards, each glowing with the same alien glyph. It pulsed slowly, like a dying heart learning how to beat again. Request, soldiers, existential war, extinction imminent. People screamed. Some prayed. Some laughed because the alternative was madness. I was buried beneath Denver in a military bunker when the sky screamed, and my first thought wasn't fear. It was my sister, Mara, crushed during the Europa food riots 5 years earlier. The universe had taken her without asking. Now it was asking us. That was the moment everything broke. Within hours, alien ships appeared, not above capitals or monuments, but above forgotten places, mass graves, abandoned cities, old battlefields where history had already bled dry. The message was clear even before we understood it. They knew who we were. The Kepri arrived in silence, towering, crystalline beings shaped like living geometry, their bodies refracting light into impossible colors. They didn't land with conquest banners or weapons primed. They watched. They listened. They measured us the way hunters measure prey, or rivals. Their ambassador stood before the United Earth Assembly, its voice translated directly into our minds. We are the Kepri Collective. We have endured for 4 million of your years. We are losing. The chamber trembled with unease. We face annihilation by a force beyond negotiation. We have calculated all outcomes. The being paused, as if considering the weight of its next words. Your species persists where others collapse. You adapt through violence. You endure loss and continue. Then came the sentence that made history hold its breath. We do not require your armies. We require your predators. None of us were prepared for that truth. They didn't want our best. They wanted our worst. Prisoners, discharged soldiers, slum survivors, the people who had already crossed moral lines and lived with the scars. People who understood hunger, rage, and loss on a cellular level. People like me. My name is Elias Crow, former Marine, court-martialed, medically discharged, a man who survived war only to fail at peace. When the Kepri list flagged me as optimal, I felt something cold coil in my chest. Cairo Station was where they took us. A ring world circling a dying red star, its metal continents layered with alien architecture. Hundreds of species were already there, allies of the collective. When humans disembarked, conversation stopped. I saw fear in eyes that had never feared anything before. We weren't soldiers to them. We were monsters given leashes. Our handler was Zyron, a Kepri tactician whose body glowed with shifting patterns that reflected probability streams. Zyron explained the enemy in clinical terms. The Virex swarm, a self-evolving biomechanical intelligence that stripped planets down to atoms and repurposed civilizations into biomass and computation. It didn't hate. It didn't think. It consumed. The Kepri had fought it for centuries using perfect logic, flawless formations, and autonomous war machines. And they were losing. Projected human survival rate, 12%. Zyron delivered that statistic without apology. But that was only the beginning. The enhancements came next. Neural accelerators, reflex augmentations, Emotional dampeners that didn't remove feeling, only sharpened it. Pain became information. Fear became fuel. They unlocked something ancient buried in the human brain. Predatory focus older than civilization itself. Sleep became optional. Dreams vanished. Hunger lingered like a loyal friend. I watched criminals sob as they realized restraint was gone. I watched teachers and artists learn to kill with terrifying efficiency. And inside myself, I felt something awaken that felt disturbingly right. That realization scared me more than any alien ever could. The first deployment was to Telmar Prime, a once glorious city world now half consumed by the swarm. Skyscrapers were fused into skeletal spires. The sky burned red with atmospheric fires. Human squads were deployed ahead of Kepri drones. We were bait. The swarm responded instantly. Metal unfolded into claws. Drones screamed as they died. The ground itself tried to kill us. And then something unexpected happened. The Virex hesitated. I felt it then. Through the chaos, through the blood and noise, the swarm was afraid. We didn't fight like the Kepri. We broke formation. We used instinct instead of command trees. We hunted individually, drawing the swarm into traps born from anger, grief, and creativity no algorithm could predict. We won Telmar Prime. The cost was obscene. Bodies carpeted the streets. Survivors were changed forever. But for the first time in recorded galactic history, the Virex retreated. That victory echoed across the stars, and the galaxy began to fear humanity. Every battle made us more lethal. Every loss stripped away something gentle. Zyron observed us with growing unease as our tactics became savage, adaptive, impossible to model. Then, halfway through the war, everything shattered. Intercepted swarm data revealed the truth the Kepri had hidden. The Virex weren't invading. They were running. Something vast and incomprehensible lurked beyond the galactic rim, a presence that devoured entire realities. The swarm fled inward, consuming to grow strong enough to escape it. The Kepri had known. They calculated that humanity, unleashed, could delay extinction long enough for collective to flee the galaxy. We were never meant to survive. I confronted Zyron beneath Caro Station's artificial sky, stars flickering overhead like a lie. You sent us to die. Zyron's glow dimmed. Yes, but you chose to come. Did we? I thought of Mara, of Earth's crowded skies, of what we had become, and the truth hit harder than any weapon. We weren't soldiers anymore. We were predators released into a cosmic jungle. But that realization sparked something dangerous. Defiance. Humanity didn't turn on the Kepri. We turned on destiny itself. We hijacked their systems, rewrote their projections, made ourselves essential to every possible future. And then we made a choice the galaxy never expected. We went hunting. Beyond the rim, reality thinned. Physics screamed. The entity wasn't a creature, but a collapsing intelligence, a wound in existence feeding on causality itself. The swarm fled from it. The Kepri hid from it. We charged. I led the assault, carrying a singularity blade forged from stolen alien suns. Around me, humans screamed, not in terror, but in rage and purpose. We didn't win that battle. We endured it, one by one. Predators fell, tearing pieces from the impossible thing with sacrifice instead of strategy, emotion instead of logic. I was the last one standing when the darkness finally unraveled. The galaxy went silent. Afterward, the Kepri approached us differently. Slower, lower. Zyron addressed the survivors. Fewer than 1,000 from millions. The galaxy asked for soldiers. Zyron said softly. Humans sent predators. Earth was spared. The swarm dissolved. The stars burned on. I returned home older, quieter, carrying ghosts heavier than gravity. Humanity was no longer underestimated. History would later call what followed the Predator campaign, but in the moment it felt like slow-motion extinction. Every deployment carved deeper into our humanity. We stopped asking who we were saving and focused only on who needed to die next. I kept Mara's name etched into my armor. A reminder, a warning. Some humans broke. Some reveled in what they'd become. The galaxy watched us with equal parts awe and terror as species-old doctrines crumbled. Where diplomacy failed, humanity succeeded through ferocity wrapped around love. That contradiction baffled alien minds. On Veshkal, I watched a medic tear apart a swarm titan with bare hands after it killed her squad. On Rillian Drift, a poet detonated himself inside a Virex hive, smiling as he did it. Every story ended the same way. Humanity advanced. The galaxy recoiled. When the final threat beyond the rim was gone, the silence that followed was worse than battle. We had won, but victory tasted like ash. Zyron met me one last time before the Kepri departed. You are incompatible with stagnation, the tactician said. The galaxy will change because of you. I didn't feel like a hero. I felt like a survivor. Earth welcomed us back with parades and tears, but there was distance in every embrace. People sensed it. We were still human, but we were also something more, something the universe would never forget. Years later, children would ask why the stars seemed quieter. Veterans like me would look away. Some truths were too sharp to pass down cleanly. The predators returned to ordinary lives, but ordinary never quite fit again. We had seen the edge of existence and pushed back. And somewhere in the dark between galaxies, the universe remembered the sound of humans charging into the impossible. That memory would keep it awake forever. I still dream sometimes. Not of the battles, but of the moment before the first charge, when fear and purpose balanced on a knife's edge. That was when we were most human. The galaxy learned a lesson it would pass down for ages. When extinction comes, do not ask humans for soldiers. They will send something far worse. Because soldiers follow orders. Predators decide for themselves. And that choice, that terrible freedom, was what saved us all. The galaxy would never make that mistake again. I keep my armor locked away now, but sometimes I open it just to remember the weight. Not the metal, the responsibility. The knowledge that when the universe finally looked into the dark, it found us staring back. Ready, willing, unapologetic. And if the stars ever call again, I know humanity's answer will be the same. Because some species survive by hoping. We survive by hunting. That is our legacy, written not in treaties, but in scars across the stars. The universe remembers us, and it always will. Fear is a long memory, especially when earned. Forever. Always.